Good evening. I'd like to call the village board meeting for the Village of Cary for December 17th, 2024 to order with roll call, please.
Collier.
Here.
Dudek.
Here.
McAlpine.
Here.
Stefani.
Here.
Walrath. Here. Weinhammer.
Here.
Koenig.
Here. Thank you. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. Now moving to the open forum, where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. I have a couple people sign in. Martha Ritter.
Hello, 239 North School Street. Once again, I'm the spokesperson for our development. Anyway, they want to know why the pink slips are coming all over our garbage cans. Every week now. This is the second week now, and if you don't call, they don't take your garbage. And they also hit me with the $4.50 late fee.
Thank you. I'm meeting with the Flood Brothers representatives, I believe, this week. So I will be clarifying, getting answers on that for everybody.
Well, I got it
Appreciate
off
that.
because I got. So now they say if you don't pay by online, which they want you to give all your bank stuff, and nobody, we have an older development, and nobody wants to do that, including me. They won't send you a bill. That's a little ridiculous, I guess.
It's a mess.
It's a
Yeah.
big mess.
It's a mess.
It's a clerical situation from
And
what we've been
you call
told.
them, they're saying it's the post office's fault. I'm like, okay, I can understand one or two, but the whole neighborhood, I don't think that's the post office. So something's wrong here. And did you get my note?
I
gave him
did,
a note. I gave him
yes,
your note.
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Kaylin, do you want to just give a brief, since she mentioned that, just a brief synopsis for those that are listening that want to hear about what's going on?
Yeah, so I forget what day it was, a Tuesday, I believe. We were getting an influx of calls that there were pink slips being put on the garbage that weren't being collected. After communication with Flood Brothers, we found that there was, from what we understand, something related to paper bills that were sent out, weren't delivered, and because of that, Flood Brothers went in and instead of trying to figure out what the situation was, they just put pink slips on everyone's garbage. Why they did that, we're not exactly sure. Administrator Morimoto obviously has a meeting with the owners of Flood Brothers to try to address that situation, but like you said, Mayor, it seems to be a clerical issue with Flood Brothers.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
When is our contract up with Flood Brothers?
Just renewed it. Yeah, I believe there's another 5 years, or 4 years. But I'll confirm the exact
Well,
dates.
they typically provide outstanding service. This was just a blip. We're trying to clarify what they are meeting with staff, so we'll get to the bottom of it.
If you could also get to the bottom of people who had auto draft, that didn't pull either. So to say it was just an issue with mail,
Not true.
Not
I was
true.
on auto pay and they did it to mine.
Yeah. So just for a little bit more clarity.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Chris?
Chris Reiki, 446 Lloyd Street. I did the survey, and the way it was rating was less spending on it, the right amount spent on it, or needs more. I don't know about anybody else, but spending more money downtown or at Rotary Park versus some of the village streets could use more work than spending more money downtown. Some of the streets, it's just a matter of making a 3-foot grinding along the curb line would fix it. You don't even have to fix the whole street. That's what they did in where I lived, the whole block, because the curb line didn't match up. So they made a 3-foot strip on each side by the curb, repaved it, and it's fine. But there's other areas or other streets in the older neighborhood there, or other neighbor areas. A 3-foot street or a strip along the curb line would fix the problem. But you're going in and repaving these whole subdivisions or streets that don't need it versus, you know, maybe, I know you're gonna spend the money wherever you want, but I think the streets need more work than more money downtown or more money spent out at Rotary Park. I know Rotary Park's a great facility out there, but
Thank you. That's why we do the survey. We try to be as transparent as possible. We survey the entire community, giving people an opportunity to voice their opinion on what they'd like to see their tax dollars spent at. And this board will make a decision based on part of the feedback and what's best for the community.
okay.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the village board? We'll go ahead and close open forum at 6:06. I'm going to throw something else on my agenda for today. I just wanted to give a shout out to, there's been a friendly rivalry with some mayors. There's 7 mayors in McHenry County that have been challenged to raise money for Salvation Army. I was lucky enough to have a couple trustees show up and help me out. Some of our officers showed up, Officer Haglin, Altes, and Malone. They came out and they were ringing the bell with me too, so it was really nice. And I'm proud to say that the village of Cary came in #1 on the most donations on the bell ringing day. Now that said, I want everybody to take out their phone and take a picture of this QR code because the fundraising goes until December 31st. And right now with virtual, I'm going to give you current up-to-date information. Currently, virtually, we are in 3rd place. So we need people to take a look at this and kind of think with their hearts and see if, because all the money that we raise in McHenry County stays in McHenry County. And all these mayors are very dear friends of mine. We're having a very fun time with this. So think about it. We beat out Huntley, Crystal Lake, and Algonquin. Who's got the giving heart? So let's continue to move this thing forward. And I hope that we can prevail. I know I've talked to several people that are just going to be hitting that QR code and making the donation. So it's been fun, and it really helps our community. So thank you for that. Before we get going down, before I forget, I always forget at the end of the meeting because everybody tends to leave. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thanks to our board and staff for everything that they do to continue to make the village of Cary a wonderful place to live, work, and play. So it's been a lot of fun this year. We got a lot of great things coming up in this next, in 2025. So let's keep it moving forward. With that said, I am very pleased to welcome another officer to our staff. We have a lateral transfer from another municipality. We are welcoming Juan Cineros to our team. And Juan, if you want to meet me up front here. Showcase you. Did you have somebody with you that would like to stand with you while you get sworn in? Would you like to come up and support this young man? You want to stand right behind him? You kind of got your thing going here. Do you want to give a little bit of background?
I'd be happy to. Officer Cisneros comes to us by way of Carpentersville Police Department. He was a CSO in Carpentersville from 2002 to 2006, and from 2006 until 2024, he was a patrol officer, 4 years of which he served as a detective. In 2012, he was recognized as Officer of the Year. He's been recognized by the Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists 5 times for his DUI enforcement achievements. He has the following certifications: lead homicide investigation, juvenile officer, evidence technician, breath alcohol testing, advanced impaired driver, A-ride, field training officer. He's a drone pilot. He also has officer in charge experience. He has a associate's in applied science and criminal justice from Elgin Community College and a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice Administration from Columbia College of Missouri. So as you can see, he's very well credentialed. He comes to us as an officer that can hit the ground running, and we look forward to having him in our ranks. By the way, this makes our 27th sworn officer, so we're fully staffed.
Looks good. Congratulations. Welcome.
And as is our custom, we have a cake and coffee reception. So there's a cake, and everyone's invited to go back and get a piece, or after the board meeting, I'll make sure you get some.
Thank you. While they're clearing the room, for the consent agenda, I'm going to be pulling 2 items off E and F for some further clarification at the request of Trustee Walrus. So I'm amending this motion that I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A through D and G and H as shown on the village's website and is displayed on the video monitor during the village board meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Walworth,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Stefani,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Dudek.
Yes.
Thank you. Where's that? I pulled it out here. Where is it? Did I separate it and leave it in my office? Oh, here it is. Pardon me. Well, I will entertain a motion to consider approval of ordinance abating special service area taxes for special service area number 1, SSA 1, known as Cambria, and approving the amended special tax roll.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Our finance director, Kelly, if she can kind of give an explanation of what this is all about.
Yeah, sure, not a problem. So for SSA 1, I'll speak to both. I know they're separate motions, but for both of the SSAs, the life of the SSA is through 2028. Each year, we submit an ordinance to abate the taxes. That is the difference between the maximum special taxes and what is actually needed to cover the debt service and administrative expenses of the SSA. This year, for SSA number 1, those numbers are reflected in the ordinance in front of you, but it was $538,000 needed for tax year 2024 for the debt service and administrative expenses. The maximum special tax was $986,000, so we abate the difference, which is then also shown in the back appendix. And the reason for that that those numbers fluctuate each year is dependent on some of the prepayments that are made during the year, as well as any surplus that we have from a prior year to pay those debt expenses. So for SSA number 1, that surplus from last year was approximately $81,000. That is because of the taxes received as well as the interest that was earned in those accounts that was holding the taxes. So that then is passed back. So the true tax amount needed was approximately $620,000, I believe it was. But $80,000 of that was a surplus that then is passed back and reduced that tax levy.
Is that answer your question, Trustee Walworth?
It does, and to clarify, if the abatement wasn't there, we'd be passing along the tax to the residents of the full
Of
amount.
the full 986, correct.
Thank you. I appreciate the clarification.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Walworth,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Stefani,
Yes.
Weinhammer.
Yes.
Thank you. And with that, I will entertain a motion to approve an ordinance abating special service area taxes for special service area number 2, SSA number 2, known as Foxford Hills, and approving the amended special tax roll.
So moved.
Second.
Any other questions regarding that? Roll call, please.
Stefani,
Yes.
Walworth,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
Collier.
Yes.
Thank you. I have 3 items on separate action this evening. The first, I will entertain a motion to approve the receipt and acceptance of the annual comprehensive financial report, known as a CAFR, for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2024, and the auditor's required communication letter.
So moved.
Second.
Kelly, do you have any comments on this?
No comments, but Mr. Ed Tracy from Selden Fox is here to present the audit to the board.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me here this evening. We've worked with the village for the last several years, and we certainly have always appreciated the assistance and cooperation we've gotten from village administrator, from the finance director and her team. This year's audit went well. Our start was delayed a little bit because you were going through the conversion, so we kind of had to delay our start a little bit, but once we were able to get started, the process went smoothly as has gone in recent years. We made very limited adjustments to the books and records of the village. Just a couple financial highlights for the year. Overall, your general fund, which is your main operating fund, had a positive bottom line of about $950,000 before taking into account any transfers made to fund capital projects. Your water and sanitation fund had an operating income of $425,000. And when you take into account the non-operating revenues, which are primarily, interest income, you had a positive bottom line in the water and sanitation fund for the past year of about $1.3 million. Your IMRF pension fund was 93.3% funded at the end of the year. That's an increase up from the prior year of about 88.5% funded. And your police pension fund is now at 58% funded, which was up from the prior year of 55% funded. Overall, like I said, we made very little in the way of adjustments. We didn't have any. We do take a look at internal controls. We take a look to see if they're operating as designed. Are they satisfying us as to the assurance that all transactions are properly approved, supported, and recorded. And we found that was in fact that was the case, I should say, and so we didn't identify any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the internal control structure.
Any questions from the board? Thank you again.
Sure.
It's good to be clean, isn't it, huh?
Yes. Thank you.
I also just want to mention too, once the audit is accepted and the final report is put together, then the board will receive a copy of that.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Walworth,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Stefani,
Yes.
Weinhammer.
Yes.
Thank you. Our second item is I will entertain a motion to approve an ordinance authorizing the addition of the CPI and new growth of $122,833, resulting in an annual real estate tax levy for the year 2024 in the amount of $3,018,438.
So moved.
Second.
So the numbers that you see here are the exact numbers that we presented back in the November meeting when we had the discussion at the committee of the whole meeting. CPI new growth of $122,833. I do want to mention, as I didn't mention at the prior meeting, the EAV, the estimated taxable valuation, that increase for the year from 23 to 24 was almost 13%. The increase in the taxes that we're recommending is about 4%. That's the CPI and the new growth. Because of that, the calculating rate actually decreased from 2023. So I just wanted to point that out as well. So there will be a slight tax break this year. Can't say that'll happen every year, but this year, because of that increase in EAV and what our small increase is, then there is a slight tax break.
Thank you.
Can you explain the tax break a little bit more?
Sure. So the calculating rate from 2023 was 0.4573. So that's what's used to calculate on the EAV for the property tax bills. This year, based on what the actual EAV growth was in the village versus what the increase is to the taxes, that tax rate went down to 0.4253. So that's the rate that will be used on the estimated valuation for the property tax bills, which would then result in a reduction of the dollars.
And again, remind that we are different than all the other taxing districts. You know, we are generally under 5% of the entire tax bill. So when we're talking about these increases, it only affects ours, which, according to our finance director, she is now saying that we might see a little bit of a dip in that because of the EAV. It's good to hear. Any other questions from the board? Roll call, please.
Well, I have a comment.
Okay.
I don't have a question, I have a comment. And my comment is just that I think that as we sit here, there's nobody anywhere that ever wants to raise anything, a cost to anyone. But the cost to do business is continually increasing. We've not seen a decrease. And I think that we're tasked with being good financial stewards to all of our taxpayers. And I just wanted to be assured that, you know, we think these things through, we go through it, we see what the bills are, what do we have to pay, how do we do this? And I think that the prudent thing for us to do is to take all this. But I just want to make sure that people know we're not just willy-nilly going in and saying, hey, we want to raise anything. We're just capturing what's going on so that we can continue to provide the services to fund our police pension fund, to keep those things going up, that we don't go backwards.
Thank you. And we're in a pretty good financial situation right now, especially with our police pension fund. We're knocking on 60%, which is by far better than a lot of the other municipalities in the state. So I think that these are good things, and we just had our police pension report, and we're going to have to continue escalating those costs up through 2040, and at 2040 we'll be 100% funded. So a lot of these costs the additional costs will go back into general fund for additional projects. So we're making our way towards that way. So thank you. Roll call, please.
Stefani?
Yes.
Walworth?
Yes.
McAlpine?
Yes.
Dudek?
Yes.
Weinhammer?
No.
Collier?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We have one item for discussion through community development. We're going to discuss a concept plan for a planned development application related to the development of the Damisch farm property on Illinois 31, which is on the west part of our borders. So. Director Simmons?
So we don't have to move or anything, it's just a discussion.
We're
not voting on anything.
We're not voting on anything.
Just want to make sure.
Thank you, Mayor, Village Board. The item before you this evening is related to a proposed development on Route 31, which is on Damisch farm property, which is located just to the west of the Cambria subdivision and south of the existing Walmart and adjacent Crystal Lake. As the board is aware, but for the public's knowledge, within our UDO, any property that's over 2 acres in size that is redeveloped for a proposal that's not single-family detached product is required to be approved as a PUD. And as part of that process, we do allow for conceptual review before the village board, and then the developers can actually ask for application waivers for their zoning petition as well. The proposal before the board this evening is for that conceptual review. The developer, the fiduciary real estate development group, has a presentation they'd like to go over to provide information as far as what they're proposing for the site. They actually are not asking for any waivers from the application requirements for the zoning process. So this evening's discussion is really just that, a discussion of the proposed project and what they're proposing at the site. I'll be happy to answer any questions that the board may have on the proposal after the presentation as well, but I'll allow the developer to come forward and provide their overview. They have a small slide deck that gives an overview of their team, their other projects they've done, and then the proposed project at this location as well. That's right here on site.
Do I just hit the next?
Yeah, next
Just
slide.
start?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
sorry. There you go.
Good evening. My name is Tony DeRosa with Fiduciary Real Estate Development. Thank you for the opportunity for us to be before you tonight. We're excited to be here. We're excited to share a concept plan for you regarding the Damisch property. For our presentation, I'm going to give you a brief overview of who we are as a company, give you an overview of our concept development plan, and we've also put together a pretty special 3D fly-through architectural model at the end of the presentation that will kind of take you through our site from a bird's view perspective. Fiduciary Real Estate Development, we're based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We are celebrating our 40th year in business this year. We are an experienced developer and investor in commercial real estate. We focus mostly on multifamily and mixed-use projects. We were founded back in 1984. And we've grown our business to be one of Wisconsin's largest real estate companies. We currently own and manage our entire portfolio of about 8,000 market rate apartments with an owned portfolio value in excess of about $2 billion. Our work over the years has been recognized as award-winning. 20 times we've been the recipient of Property of the Year Award, 8 times the winner of New Construction or Development of the Year Award, and 6 times our regional managers have been recognized as being best in the business in what they do. We've been one of the most active multifamily developers in the Chicago suburbs over the last 5 years, with successful projects in West Dundee, Hoffman Estates, Elgin, North Aurora, Plainfield, and Romeoville, totaling about just shy of 1,800 apartments that we've built over that time frame, and we've invested about $500 million in these suburbs over the last 5 years. Our goal here is to combine retail and residential spaces to create a vibrant and high-end community development. Before you look at any property, you should really look at what is the highest and best use for a given piece of property. While this property, the Damisch property, is currently designated for commercial use in the comprehensive plan that was adopted 10 years ago back in 2015, both the comp plan and the Route 31 sub-area plan encourage multifamily development at this location while also preserving commercial frontage opportunities. We think the likelihood of this entire 36-acre property being developed as commercial or retail is very unlikely. There is a lack of demand for big box retail development in today's market. This will be a luxury mixed-use development designed to meet current market demands with significant walkability throughout and improved connectivity with the extension of New Haven Drive connecting west to Route 31. The retail frontage will be approximately 6 acres in size. The commercial development potential here is driven by the addition of the new rooftops. There'll be economic growth opportunities for new commercial retailers to enter the market here with pad-ready development sites, allowing for increased tax revenue and along with additional consumer spending opportunities. Behind the retail will be our high-end luxury market rate multifamily housing component of the project with a Class A amenity package, condo quality construction, and finishes. There's significant pent-up demand for this type of housing in the local market. As part of our submittal, we also included a third-party market study that was conducted by a third-party research firm known as Tracy Cross, based here in Chicago. We had them not only look at demand for the product, which I think we understand that there is demand in the market for additional housing, but really how do the attributes of what we're proposing here, how do they fit in? And they concluded that this, with what we're proposing here in terms of finish and amenity package, would be very well received. These will be smaller scale buildings with 18 apartment homes per building, with private entrances and direct entrances for certain apartment homes, as well as detached garages available for our residents. The proposed development site is outlined in red on this 30,000-foot aerial. As we zoom in a little bit more, the 36-acre development site is surrounded by Walmart Supercenter to the north, the Cambria subdivision to the east, Hoffman Park to the south, and the self-storage and landscape facility to the west. And as we zoom in even a little bit more into the concept plan itself, the site plan contemplates 3 potential access points along 31. These obviously would be subject to the completion of a traffic study that we'd have to go through, as well as working with IDOT on any approvals. The northern access point, as I mentioned earlier, will connect from Route 31 to New Haven Road, as is shown currently in the comprehensive plan. The commercial component of the development could include potentially upwards of 38,000 square feet of new retail and commercial space. It's the addition of the new housing component that will help drive demand for the commercial outlots as retailers are continuing to look for rooftop growth. The commercial outlots have been designed such that all stormwater management for the retail will be handled off-site within the overall 36-acre development as part of our master stormwater system. This new commercial development will be amenity to all those in the community. The housing component will be built in 2 phases. The first phase will include 12 two-story buildings with 18 apartment homes per building, and the second phase will include 10 buildings. The buildings have been designed in a townhouse style, which feature ground level, private direct entrances, along with 8 attached garages per building. The buildings will include a combination of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom floor plans. And while still only in concept, we are showing a thicker landscape buffer along our east property line within the rear 40-foot setback for the portion of the property that backs up to the Cambria subdivision to the east. We envision native trees and additional vegetation in this area to provide for additional screening. In addition, the first phase will also include our state-of-the-art clubhouse, which will be roughly 4,500 square feet in size, designed to create a unique and unparalleled resident experience in the market with a resort-style pool, a 24-hour fitness facility with high-end cardio equipment, and an entertaining-style clubroom. We've also had an initial discussion with the Park District regarding providing potential connection points to Hoffman Park and working on also improving the access at the south end of the property if this would be of interest to them. Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, no problem.
Is there only, looking at the photo, is there only 24 garages? But you said as you were speaking, 8 garages per unit, but in the photo it only shows 24.
Right, so very, very good question. So the 24 that you see are detached garage banks of 6 and 8 per. Every building, and you can't see it on the plan, has on the first floor 8 attached garages that you could pull into.
Okay, wonderful.
And then
Thank
walk
you.
into your apartment home.
I apologize for
Oh, no
interrupting
problem.
you. Thank you for explaining that.
In terms of design, the image at the top right is the imagery of what our current clubhouse is designed for. The residential buildings will consist of 2 stories and are designed to maximize efficiency while creating some strong visual interest. We've organized the facade in conjunction with the gabled roofs with upper and lower stories reflecting what we think is a well-proportioned design. Large windows contribute to the building's spacious feel, allowing natural light to flood our interiors. Exterior finish of the building is going to include a combination of brick and hardy siding, which is a cement board product, along with board and batten to create that visual depth along the facade. We have a mix of balconies and patios that also complement the exterior elevations. Some of the in-demand features that we've included here are the direct access garages that we have available, patios and balconies for all apartment homes, private entrances, primary suites, all with walk-in closets, and stainless steel appliances. We will have a very high-end interior finish package that will be at the very top end of the market, including things such as designer cabinetry, large windows, open concept floor plans, in-unit full-size washers and dryers, 9-foot ceilings, designer plank flooring throughout all apartment homes, and quartz countertops and islands. We're going to have an unmatched amenity package with this development, including things like you see at the top right corner, a dog park for all of our residents, a spectacular clubroom in an entertaining style, or what we would consider a caterer's type kitchen, and you can see an image at the bottom right of our fully equipped fitness center. In addition, here's some additional imagery of our resort-style pool and sun deck at the top left corner. Bottom right corner, we have what we consider our rentable work-from-home and media lounges available to our residents. Image in the middle on the left, a car care station where you can vacuum out and wash your car. You can even, that image on the left there also includes if you want to give your dog a bath after walking outside. We have that amenity as well. And then bottom left is something we're really excited to add to the development is pickleball courts, given the buzz with pickleball these days. We feel strong that there's market demand for new commercial development here, along with what we're proposing as a unique type of new luxury apartment living. Our target residential demographic is looking for something that's modern and a community to call home. People that will live here will include empty nesters, baby boomers, young professionals, and many of those that are choosing to rent. Our typical resident employment profile is very broad. We'll have people that work in the healthcare industry, finance, retail, government, real estate, technology, service industry, as well as retirees, to name a few. It's really the location, the retail access, the recreational amenities, and this location along Route 31 that provide us this opportunity to create an attractive option for this mixed-use development. This is the same slide that was included in our submittal, and I don't want to rehash it. I really want to draw your attention to the bottom three items. The first one being the significant increase in assessed property value. Currently, this property has an assessment of about $19,000 and a tax bill just shy of $2,000. Our proposed $110 million plus development obviously is going to have a major impact on both of those numbers. In terms of economic benefit, we are conservatively estimating an almost $40 million economic impact from additional consumer spending over a 10-year period with new residents within the development. And we're estimating impact fee charges that we would pay as part of the project in excess of $2.7 million. And now you'll see our fly-through that we've put together. Hope you like the music. So the goal really for tonight is really, to share the concept. We're at the very early stages. We know there's a long road ahead with making sure this project is a reality and gets to the point where you're putting your shovel in the ground. So tonight, it's really, we're looking for feedback. Is this something that the board has interest in seeing? Is this something that the board has interest in continuing to allow us to work through the formal approval process? And we'd be happy to answer any questions that any of you may have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. We'll start on my right this time. Anybody have any comments over here? Trustee Fani, Dudek, Collier?
The only comment I have is I like it, so.
Thank you.
I know Rick had a couple questions, though.
I don't have very many questions. I too like it quite a bit. I think the only observation that I made when you had your template up there is in the commercial piece, it was 3.3 acres that looked like it was a parking lot. So you had buildings and a big parking lot. If you can maybe go back.
Sure.
It's this one.
This slide?
Yeah. So if you look at bottom left, that commercial 3.3, the only thought I had when I was looking at this is, I don't know exactly how wide of a spot that is, but it would be nice if perhaps the parking could be somehow or other located elsewhere to have a little bit more development in that spot.
Sure, no, I think that's a good comment. So what you see for the commercial here in the pink or the red shading are purely lines on paper. That is all it is. We don't have the building ready to go, and that's the plan. I can probably guarantee that probably won't be the plan at the end of the day. Really, it's going to be user-driven. The way we look at this is planning the overall master development and providing the housing really unlocks the potential for the commercial that on its own it can't create. So as part of our first phase, we'd build the first 216 apartment homes, but we'd put in all the infrastructure. We'd build the frontage road there. We'd extend utilities. We'd build all the stormwater. So that land for the commercial is ready. It's, as I mentioned in the presentation, I use the phrase, pad ready. Not like, oh, we have to do X, Y, and Z. It's pad ready for a user that wants to come to the marketplace. And actually, so we've taken a couple of kind of just examples of different types of commercial buildings. At the end of the day, it's really going to be user driven.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation. Yeah. And the only other comment I have is this type of presentation is exactly what I would hope we would be getting for other potential development sites within town, which we haven't really seen yet, but this is probably the best that I've seen in all my time in village board, so thank you.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that.
I also like the project. Two questions I had, Brian, was for your school district, 100% is Crystal Lake on this project?
No, actually it's split. This area is unique from the taxing districts that it does go into. The majority of the development is District 47 and Crystal Lake, yes. The one building that's at the south end of the property, the last 18-unit building, that actually is in District 300 in Algonquin District. But there's no, the taxing districts out here would not be Cary School District 26. It would be District 155, but the high school that this would go to based on current limits would be Prairie Ridge High School. And then also it's split between MCC, McHenry County College District, and the Elgin Community College District. And the library district, I believe, is the Algonquin Library District as well.
That's my last district. What about fire?
Fire is Cary Fire District.
So tax dollars that came from this would come to the village and fire?
And yes, and the Cary Park District as well.
Thank you.
And that southern unit, I believe you said was District 300, that's a separate high school as well, not Prairie Ridge.
Yeah, so as the development occurs, there may be different agreements that the entire development goes to one school district or versus splitting the students that are in the development. But there's uniqueness as far as the Route 31 corridor in general, as far as where all the taxing districts come up to. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, can you stay on the right?
Pardon me?
Can you stay on the right?
Yes, sir. Anything for you, Trustee Stefani? How can I help you?
The commercial pads, are you guys going to be managing, or are you selling those off? What's the objective?
We've done projects like this. We've actually come across a handful of projects where you've got large farm fields like this, and you have these old dated comp plans, right, that say it's all big box retail, right? Because somebody thought a Target was going to go here 15 years ago, right? So what we've been able to do with a lot of these projects is bring the housing and the commercial experience to the table, and we've done both. And what's good about the way we're set up is we can build a building for somebody. We've built restaurants for people. Many times, a lot of the national retail users have a preferred developer that travels with them throughout the entire country, and they want to buy the pad from us. So we can sell somebody land, we can build it for them, we can lease it to them. We've got a lot of different directions. We want to cater to getting interest here, whatever way we can do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Trustee Walworth?
Outstanding first step and wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I would highly encourage you to stay within the Hardy Board brick and stone. I know that's a personal point for the mayor he brings up to every developer that comes through to get that prairie feel like the building you're in, and what you've shown us here, if we end up there, it's going to be a really outstanding development, so thank you.
Well, thank you. In all of our buildings, actually, we've never built a building that I've been involved in where we've put vinyl on a building. We'd love to, it's cheaper, but it doesn't hold up well. You know, I appreciate your comment because sometimes people get caught up in a percentage of a certain material. And our buildings have a lot of undulations and gable details, which we think, you know, complement the combination of brick, hardy, and gables, and some of those other design features, rather than just saying we have to have X% of this. I think it's really a true combination of all three that create good design.
True, and I like the depth look as well, that it adds a little character to it. But thank you.
Wow, you know, ditto. Great job. Very looking forward to you continuing on this, on your venture here. But I have a question that's a little bit different, and that is, how did you come to us? What made you come to Cary? I'm just curious because I think it's important for other people to hear. I like for people to know what made you say, hey, we'd like to come to Cary, because we know it's wonderful. We want to know what makes you think it's wonderful.
I'll give you kind of not a short answer, but not a long answer. So like I mentioned earlier, we're based in Milwaukee. And historically, we've done all of our work in Milwaukee. And about 5 years ago, we were looking at building some more of this kind of garden-style apartments, and we were looking for more opportunities in the Chicago suburbs. Historically, we've known that these have been great areas, kind of untapped areas. And we came down here, and the first opportunity we found was in West Dundee on Randall Road, just south of the rec facility. And when we first came down there, we said, we want to build this, you know, beautiful project. And the response we got was, it was kind of, you know, reserved. And there was, what I finally figured out was going on is that historically there's not been a lot of housing built in the Chicago suburbs going back 20, 30 years. I couldn't figure out why. It was getting the response I was. So as I talked more to, if you know Joe Cavallero in West Village manager, and he's like, well, the stuff that was built 30 years ago, you look at how it's been run and how it's been maintained, it was really a question of quality. He wanted to know, he was not opposed to what we wanted to do, but more concerned about who are you guys, who are you as people? So that's what drew us here, and very simplistically, we said, we do what we say we're gonna do. And you can go to any of these different communities that I rattled off earlier, in the 1,800 apartments that we built, and I think every mayor in each community will say, yeah, we have done exactly what we said we're gonna do. So we've been looking for more opportunities down here, and actually through the broker network, the Damisch property, it's got a unique ownership, and it just came for sale. We were talking to them right about the time they formally listed on the market, and you know, we were able to come to an agreement with them.
Well, I just felt it's important to get that out there, that, you know, how is this coming about? Because we like to know. I'm thrilled that you're choosing to pursue this with us, and I reiterate what everyone else said. What a great presentation. So thank you, and hoping we can move forward with this.
Thank you.
Sister Weinhammer?
Yeah, so I'm going to echo what everybody else said. And then when I did sit down with Eric and Brian a couple weeks ago, I had the same question as you, Dale, Trustee Collier, about the school district. So, yeah, so I think it looks wonderful.
Great, thank you.
I have one more question.
I'm done with the right side here.
No, you're,
Your time is up.
Your time is up.
I may have missed when you said it. Do you guys maintain as property managers and maintenance on the property also?
Yeah, we do. So, like, based in Milwaukee, but we have a full team. So we will continue to own and manage ourselves. We don't hire third-party management. We have our own maintenance team that is based in the suburbs down here. So it's all us.
I'll echo what the rest of the board said. This is an exciting opportunity for us. You know, we are lacking this type of housing in the village of Cary. And to bring something like this to our western border is just an unbelievable opportunity. I mean, I had conversations with our trustees, you know, building up to this, and this checks so many of our boxes. I mean, just the architecture, the site plan, the thought that went into this it's impressive. It really is. It's something that I think that our community would get behind. It's reflective of the quaint, charming town that we have, and I think that this is something that we've been longing for a while. So we're thrilled that you're here, and if there's anything that we can do to help you through the process, we try to make it as easy as possible. So Brian will take good care of you. Or
He's been great, because one of your questions earlier about what drew us here. Well, every time we go into a new community, we like to sit down with community development directors and take the temperature and the village administrator. And, you know, the village administrator was nice enough to join us for our initial meeting with Mr. Simmons, and they were great. And they were very open and upfront with us and honest. Hey, here's what's important to us. Here's some changes. Could you make some changes to the plan before you even bring it forward? So those things, from our perspective, are also important. And, you know, we really appreciate the feedback tonight. We're really excited to get going on this.
So I guess to sum it all up, I think you've got a green light to continue moving forward, so thank you very
Great.
much.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
We have one resident with a question. Mr. Miller?
Looking at the Dave Miller, Lake Julian, 65 Highway 14. Looking at the site plan to it, I'm just concerned that the stormwater on Route 31 is taking up prime commercial space. If it was moved more to the east, like the one on the south side, if that was where the 18 unit was going to, you wouldn't have to worry about the school district. And then you have more commercial property in the front. And by Cambria, if they took that stormwater on 31 and put it back there, you have somewhere for the snow to go. You're looking at snow removal, which I do for a business. It'd be better to have the snow come to the south towards that 18 unit building and to the east towards those 3 units there and be stormwater off of prime, you know, commercial property. And to get those 2 stormwater ones right out on 31. So I think the more commercial we get, the better it is for the village. And looking at maintaining the property, just a suggestion.
Well, we appreciate it. And these are things, through the concept, these are things they can take back.
I can actually
Sure.
address that. That's a great question. It's one of the first questions we always get. And actually, I have with us tonight Jared Plasek from Manhart Engineering. So albeit very, you know, early, come up, Jared, very early in the process, we have given some thought to the topography of the site and the stormwater, and he's much more educated than I am to talk about it.
Wonderful. I'm glad I got the opportunity to speak tonight about this exciting project. You know, it is something always to try to unlock as much commercial space as we possibly can when we look at any site, especially along what is the most valuable, you know, frontage of the site. One of the challenges relative to stormwater with this, and something that we'll be working through as we do our, you know, as we advance through the design process, is the fact that there is some regional stormwater coming through here from Route 31 into the west. And that's one of the reasons that we've targeted some of these locations for the stormwater management. They're located generally at most of the, we'll call it the low spots of the site. Generally, the site drains largely to the southeast, to the northeast corner of the site. So that's why we've got the stormwater management along the northern side, also providing a little bit of a buffer from the Walmart site. And then additionally in that southwest corner, that is, again, another spot where there's a little bit of a low point there. Again, something we'll always take into consideration is if there's any strategic advantages to relocating stormwater management facilities and unlocking additional, whether it's additional frontage for commercial, or also, you know, unlocking anything else relative to the site as a whole. Yep.
Thank you.
You know, we might have another piece to market to you guys, too. I don't know if you've heard about it at all, but just saying.
I believe he's aware of that.
Yeah. I've heard,
yeah.
I've heard of it.
And just a reminder for the board and the public, this is kind of step 1 for the PUD process. Obviously, this will go through our zoning process, the entitlement process. So there will be formal public hearings on this matter before the zoning board, and eventually a recommendation would come back to the village board as well on the project. So we're happy to have work with the development team from this standpoint forward, and we'll hopefully bring a successful project back to the board for decision later next year.
I think we have Martha Ritter has a question, too.
Pardon me?
I think Martha has a question.
Did you want to come up to the podium, state your name and address, please?
Hello, Martha Ritter, 239 North School Street. I was just wondering, did anybody ask how much apartments are going to be, or any ballpark figure or anything?
Yeah, it's.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Well, very early, we're probably in the range of maybe the low end 1,600 to 1,700, going up to the upper 2,000 range, but very preliminary estimate at this point.
It's 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units.
Correct.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, thank you very much. We appreciate outstanding presentation. I concur with Trustee Dudek. This is impressive. It's very well thought out. It's easy for us to conceptualize, and this gives us something to sink our teeth into.
Great.
So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Your time.
Kind of like Christmas with a little bow on it.
This needs a big bow. All right, moving on. Administrator's report. Administrator Morimoto.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to recognize a recent visit we had from the Prairie Ridge High School Rotary Interact Club. They were kind enough to give a visit to the police department with a thank you for first responders. And thank you, Mayor, for joining us as well for a quick photo. And we're happy to have them join us. And those of you that might not be aware, parts of Cary, a small sliver on the west end, does go to Prairie Ridge High School as well.
One of these young ladies lives in Cambria, so hence they were here. It's always good to give candy to the police department, wouldn't you say, Chief?
And also have a couple highlights for the public. There is a holiday food drive that is underway by the Cary Fraternal Order of Police. So please visit the donation boxes located in our police department lobby, and we're happy to take those for those in need. And we also are conducting our annual Holiday Lights Recycling, and there's a bin that is here at the Municipal Center for that as well.
Thank you. Moving on to department head reports, Chief Finland.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
The bin for the recycling, is that locked on the weekends, or is that always open, or how does that work?
For the lights?
No, I guess going back to the recycling over at Public Works.
Oh, the electric recycling?
Yes.
The electronics recycling, that is a outside bin outside the Public Works facility. That's outside the fencing, so that's open.
No, I mean the actual container itself.
It's an open container. There's no lid on that container.
There's a
Correct.
door on
There's-
the back side.
Right.
It should typically always be open.
Okay. I was just curious. We were there like, I don't know, a while ago when it was closed and we had a large TV, so
Oh,
set it outside of it.
Makes
So
sense.
I was just curious when I was reading.
So you were the one. No.
We do have cameras.
No,
There's-
that should be open. That's good to know.
I
Thanks.
did one more update, forgot, sorry. We also have our, as I mentioned at the last meeting, our fiscal year 25-26 budget survey that a resident was kind enough to mention to us earlier in the meeting. So we encourage you to visit the website, get the link here or on the QR code, and provide your feedback on different infrastructure projects that you feel need more attention, less attention, or are just right, and any suggestions you might have as well. To date, we've had some pretty good response. It's been live for about less than 2 weeks, and we have over 100 responses. So we appreciate that, and please keep them coming.
And to reiterate, we do take resident comments seriously when we go through our budget process. So please take a few minutes. I went through it. I didn't answer anything, but because I know what I want. So no, but it's an important information for us to help us make really good fiscal decisions. Director Noonan. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I skip over? I asked him first, and then Eric jumped in.
There was an interruption. It's all
There was
right.
I was interrupted. I apologize.
Just a reminder to those residents that are located in the downtown area that are located in buildings that don't have adequate off-street parking, that the parking permits are annual, so we'll be providing those beginning January 1st for those individuals that are located on the west side of High Street or the south side of Cary Street. Just come to the police department, fill out a form, and you get your parking permit.
Thank you. Now, Director Noonan.
I just want to acknowledge two of our employees in Public Works, Matt Anderson and Anthony Norwood. You might remember Anthony Norwood just celebrated his 1-year anniversary at the November 5th meeting. We acknowledged him. He just passed his Class 4 wastewater license. And Matt Anderson has just passed his Class B water license. So Matt has a Class 1 wastewater license and a Class B water license, which are the two highest attainable licenses that you can get working for the village.
Outstanding. And thank you to your staff about putting together an unbelievable downtown. I've been inundated with people just loving the way the downtown looks. They just like the charm. And that sled thing is super cool. That was an unexpected treat, so it looks really nice. So thank you for what you did. And have we been together since Mary Carey Parade? Do we want to give a shout out about that? That was incredibly well attended. Oh my gosh, the crowd was great. It was awesome to see people enjoying the nice 50-degree day in December. it was very nice. So it was a lot of fun. I know that both the police and Public Works did an outstanding job putting it together. So thank you, and thank your teams. It's great to be a part of a well-working, well-run machine. So thank you very much. Our finance director, Kelly Brainerd. Anything more? No. Any more good news? Nothing. Tips and tax, more taxes? No. Director Simmons? Nothing. Okay. Any future agenda items and discussion by the village board?
Has we gotten any communication east of the tracks, the old bank? What's happening with that piece of property? Because I see lights on every so often, cars are there every so often.
There's a business that runs out of that. There's actually a woman that owns a jewelry store in like Arlington Heights or something, owns the building to eventually build her own thing out here, but she runs her operation, I believe, out of there. So there is cars and traffic over there. So the building is
being used.
It's occupied, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned at 7:01. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see each other back on the 7th of January. Yikes.